Okay, I think it's close enough. Big crowd tonight, thanks for showing up. Everybody stand up, please. We have Dave Grant here to lead us tonight, correct? Mr. Grant, thanks for coming.
Would you bow with me, please? God our Father, we lift our thanks and praise to you and honor your name. Your holy word promises your love and care as we give our allegiance to you and obey your commands. As this governing body of our town meets and discusses the needs of our community, we ask you to be present to give wisdom for the issues that are before them. We give thanks for the rains that you send. We pray that your hand of mercy would fill our lakes and our ponds. As we wait, help us to be considerate of one another and affirm the good that we see. This evening I would pray for our new city manager, Mark Skiles. I ask for your blessing on him and on his family, for wisdom from above for this new task before him. Make it possible for his family to join him soon in our community. Help the adjustments for his daughters to new schools to be good. In the larger scope of our world, we ask for your mercy in the lives of people affected by conflict, especially the Middle East. We pray for peace and for conflict resolution. As Jesus taught us, we pray for our enemies. Help us to be people who seek God's solutions in a world that is torn by hatreds and sin. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, say something quick, or city manager, obviously, his name is Mark Skiles. Right here, Mark, do you want to say anything?
Certainly do. First of all, I want to thank everybody in the community that have went out of their way to welcome me, to come see me. The people that come and miss me, but I've been out of here quite a bit. Talked to the newspaper, talked to one of the radio stations. Am impressed with the friendliness of the people in the community. Walking down the street, until they put my picture in the paper, I know they didn't know who I was. Everybody was very friendly, and I really appreciate that. I know the number one concern in this town is, I knew it before I got here, and it is what we talk about. It's water. I do think it's a resolvable issue. I think you're taking the right steps. I know it's frustrating. I know it's not as quick as you want, but believe me, the city does want to supply you with a quality product, and as soon as possible. It's important to use and important to them. So with that, I'll shut up right there and get on with it. Thank you.
Well said. Well said. Go ahead and call to order the public hearing. This is a public hearing notice looking for public comments. Lisa, renewal extension of the franchise to operate cable and television system in the city of Clinton, Oklahoma. So we're just looking for public comments.
Yes, our franchise agreement is a 15-year agreement, and it will expire in September. So we had a public hearing in July, and now this is the second one to follow up to take any public comment, and then the next thing that will be presented at a future meeting will be the ordinance to renew that franchise agreement.
Okay, any public comments regarding this franchise agreement? Comments up here? Hearing none, consider a motion to adjourn the special hearing, public hearing.
I so move.
Second.
Trustee Lowry,
Yes.
Trustee Rodoff,
Yes.
Trustee Huebler,
Yes.
Trustee Sneak,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. On to the regular meeting of the hospital, recreational, airport, solid waste, and industrial authorities. Consider a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Anybody?
I'll second that.
Trustee Rodoff,
Yes.
Trustee Lowry,
Yes.
Trustee Sneak,
Yes.
Trustee Huebler,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. No action items regarding these authorities. Trustee reports. Anybody? Mark, we'll leave you off the hook.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Audience participation regarding these authorities? Hearing none, moving quite along. Consider motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting.
So moved. Second that.
Trustee Sneak,
Yes.
Trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Brother,
Yes.
trustee Goodland,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Under the Public Works Authority agenda. Now consider a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Anybody?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Sini,
Yes.
trustee Randolph,
Yes.
trustee Goodland,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Man, we did stuff. Action item A. First thing, we have a Severn Trent water update. All right. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you for having us. We've had quite a bit of activity in the last couple of weeks, as you're all aware. Bring you up to speed on some of the regular activity as a part of phase one. First, on the golf course, we have received water quality data. There was no surprises there. The water quality is expected, will require treatment prior to distribution. And that's by RO, so reverse osmosis treatment. We've also had another meeting with OWRB and ODEQ that was very productive. That was on Thursday. We got a lot of detailed information on expectations from ODEQ when it comes to temporary options and permitting and well construction. So very, very productive meeting, and that was just this past Thursday. Also, we have a driller. I know we gave an update in July 15th, and we are having difficulty getting drillers on the schedule. We have a driller here this week, and so there will be two areas that the driller will be focusing on. One will be the golf course, the second pump or test well location, as well as the west well site. There will be some additional investigation activities there. And now I know the option that you're really looking for is this short-term option. And the update that I can provide to you tonight is there's been quite a bit of activity. We did talk extensively with ODEQ on temporary options and got a feel for them as to length of time and requirements for them. We received the agreement that is next on the agenda with the West Well location. We just received that last night. And some of the assumptions that we had made in the past 2 weeks on this temporary option were different than the agreement, so we're adjusting based on that. There are initial assumptions which we could use the existing irrigation well. And so the concept was to go from that irrigation well to an existing pipe, which is in close proximity. And then 2 options from there, depending on water quality, blend that water with the phos water or provide temporary treatment skids for the short term. So that short term would be between the time that the permits can be in place, the temporary skids can be procured until we have the permanent treatment plant in place. So we do have, we received water quality data from that West Well site. We just got that last night, and it gives us an idea that yes, it is high in sulfates, it's high in TDS, but there is an opportunity to blend that water with the phos water without treatment. That's an opportunity. Again, it would need concurrence from ODEQ. So the next steps. One other thing that happened today is we did meet with the folks over at RS to provide this water quality data with them to see if it would be acceptable for their incoming water as well, because the water quality would be not as good as what they're receiving from us right now. We expect an answer from them either later tonight or tomorrow. So that is the update that we have for now. What we propose to do is to continue on with the engineering portion of, so moving forward with this short-term option, the engineering and investigation piece of it, and then with the construction, actually putting the pipe in the ground and the well construction, putting that into the phase 2 portion of this. And that timing is actually based on what we understand from ODEQ. There's going to be some time for them to review the details on this short-term option for permitting. And so that timing is about the same by the time we get the final engineering ODEQ approval. There's hopes that we could be then ready following that September 16th, I believe is the third Tuesday. If you decide at that point to go forward with phase 2, that we could have construction ready to begin that week or the following week on a temporary solution and move forward from there.
When you talk about the temporary solution, are you not talking about drilling a new well that's up to municipal standards?
We are talking about it. Initially, we were in hopes of using the existing well, but
Yeah.
yes, drilling a new well that will meet municipal standards.
Okay, so you're not talking about now putting in temporary skids?
There's a potential that we wouldn't have to do that.
Okay.
And that's because of the time factor with DEQ.
No, actually, the potential to not have to treat is based on the water quality results. So they were favorable to the point where we could blend that water
With falls.
with the FOS water. So they meet all the primary requirements. You have primary requirements that are set in place for health reasons. It meets all those requirements, which is very good. Secondary requirements are concerns regarding taste and odor. So it doesn't meet all secondary requirements, but neither does the FOS water. So it would be not as favorable as the FOS water, but it would reduce expense in the short term greatly by blending that rather than having to treat it.
But what you're saying is that they will not let us use the water from the existing well.
According to the agreement, correct. We need to drill a new well.
And I'll tell you that the agreement was negotiated with focus on the permanent 30-year option. The landowner is still very much in favor of the possibility of immediate use of the existing well. We would just need to come back and do it under a separate agreement, if we need to do that.
Well, there was two things with the existing well. We would not have the blending option because it's not a drinking water standard well. So if we want to blend it to DEQ, then we're required to drill a new well. But if we wanted to do the temporary unit option, we could, if Dixon was willing to let us utilize the well he has now, the temporary units would be available for that. So it's one of those situations where you can get the water a couple weeks sooner, then, I'm speaking literally, and spend possibly $500,000 in temporary treatment, or wait 2 or 3 weeks and be able to blend.
How far out are you, if you wanted to drill the well, if you want to drill a new municipal well and blend, how far out, when could you have the water in July?
I would say conceptually, 30 days from approval of phase 2.
30 days from the vote.
Well, phase 2 is coming on the 16th.
And it could be presented if it's your preference is to,
Okay,
there's,
okay.
But that also includes DEQ and OWRB approval.
correct. And we do have, we have gotten indication from OWRB and ODEQ that they're very interested in expediting because they understand the concerns here in Clinton. They haven't defined what exactly expediting means. So our hope is that that means within less than 30 days. But again, that's another variable that's out there.
What are they looking at, is just the quality, or the flow, or everything?
They have two requirements. They first do a preliminary engineering report review. So a preliminary engineering report for the well and the piping would have to be prepared and provided to them for review. And then following that, unfortunately, not before and not concurrently, but following that, they would have to review the plans and specifications, again, for the piping and the well.
What's the cost differential between drilling a well to municipal standards and putting an RO portable treatment facility for us?
We're still trying to get those numbers exactly. We're hoping to have all that for y'all by the next meeting on the 17th.
Which you think is somewhere around $500,000?
That we're in the neighborhood of $500,000 for the rental of the temporary treatment unit. If-
here.
The problem being with Dixon's well, he still wants to irrigate his alfalfa. That well's only capable of producing so much water. If he's irrigating his alfalfa, that reduces how much we can get from it. So it still makes sense, even if there is temporary treatment, to go ahead and drill us another well, so we can maximize what we can pay.
And that's part of the long-term option. So the one benefit from using this property is that we're looking at putting in infrastructure that's a part of the phase two or the long-term solution, with the exception of the temporary treatment skids. So the piping and the well is all a portion of your phase two. So the money that goes into that is a long-term investment. It's not just for the short term.
Gotcha.
But there's not any way that they're going to let us utilize the existing well unless we put in RO.
That is correct.
Correct.
And that would only gain us a couple of weeks outside your presentation on phase two.
Correct.
And it would be a temporary solution up front.
Correct.
And it costs everyone knows
In 2 weeks worth of service.
Right, you got to throw it away.
Well, you know, I have one, there are regulations on where you can drill water wells. And I'm not quite up to date on it. But if he's keeping that existing well, where are we gonna drill that well?
We actually have a map and
I see the map, but
the handout that has up there in the top right-hand corner, there's a circle that says proposed new water well. And that's actually the location.
They require us to be, what, 600 feet away
600
from
feet is the
his
required
well?
minimum spacing.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
well location is really not an issue as long as there's water underneath, and that's what they're
That
going
was
to
my
show.
concern.
Yeah. If they're telling me that water's underneath
So
600
Burns
feet.
McDonald has investigated that area. They did the hydrophysics and stuff out there. And they believe that that is going to be a good location. That's why they're doing the test over there.
It's right around the river, though. It's around Washington.
And that test will scheduled for this week also.
Okay. So what do you want us to do? I'm just asking, I mean, they're going to give us the recommendation, right?
Let me ask you a question. This well fits into our portfolio, this, based on our continuation on phase two, is that correct?
Yes.
So if by chance, we don't continue with phase two, the well wouldn't be part of our portfolio at that point.
You would have the option to go forward on your own to construct a well.
But you said when you finish this with phase two, you can chop this up and present this as a separate item.
It is possible that we could do that.
Okay. You're going to give us a lot more about phase two probably than 2 weeks from tonight.
Yes.
And also about the short term. I mean, we were actually having conference calls up until 4 o'clock, still working on this, because, I mean, the contract with Dixon changed the way we were thinking a little bit, especially knowing now that he's wanting to continue to irrigate with the wells that are there. And so the way we were kind of initially thinking versus now has changed a little bit.
But that contract was based on the long term, as opposed to us temporarily putting, and that would require us to go back and come up with some different terms in the contract, if we choose to go with the 2 week, $500,000 project.
Correct.
At the last meeting, we were told it could cost $1 million.
Well, that's the differential.
Right.
Well, we're talking, when we say 500,000, that is literally the rental of the treatment unit itself. That's not counting pipelines or anything else. That's just the difference from the treatment unit versus blending.
In your professional opinion, what do you think that a well drilled with municipal standards would cost?
That, I honestly don't know at this point. The engineer should have those costs available very quickly.
Do you think they'll have them by 2 weeks from tonight?
You do what?
Do you think they'll have them by 2 weeks from tonight?
Yes, we can provide that.
as council, are we comfortable with a 2-week expenditure of a minimum just for the rental? $500,000 bucks,
Obviously, it sounds horrible right now, but let's wait till they bring us the numbers.
and they're gonna be bigger. I mean, if we can live with, if we have a challenge living with 500,000 for 2 weeks, what's gonna happen that's gonna make these numbers more acceptable?
Right, are you moving ahead to action item C, is that we're talking about authorization for installation of the temporary?
Yes.
Hey, so in regards to, okay, let's just move, do you have anything? What else here? Let's move along through this stuff that you guys have here.
Well, let's go back to what.
Yeah. Okay,
The way I understand it, we can always do the temporary RO on a skid, but the drilling a water well would be a more long-term solution. And in my opinion, it would not, to drill a water well to municipal standards shouldn't exceed $250,000. That's the research that I've done. And
So with that thought in mind, if we go with this proposed drill site at, say, $250,000, that's not inclusive of us renting $500,000 worth of
well,
RO.
we wouldn't necessarily have to do that.
Right. And of course, this proposed well site is not on the agenda tonight, so there's no way we'll take any action on that.
Yeah, it's out of bid.
Well, that's the lease, but actually drilling the well, it's not on the agenda, but that's not,
I mean, we can discuss it in terms of the options available, but I'm saying in terms of action tonight, we're limited in terms of what we can do.
I don't think anybody was opposed to it.
What we really wanted to do was more educate y'all tonight. We really want to bring out the hard numbers and exactly what really needs to be done in 2 weeks. But we wanted to not keep y'all in the dark on this. I mean, things changed a little bit, and we want to make sure y'all were ready. So,
And again, prior to drilling the well, there would need to be that engineering report, plans and specs, and a construction permit with OPEQ.
Based on a water quality test, drilling a well, meets municipal standards, the potential is for blending.
Correct. Correct.
which is by far a lot cheaper, even
Long
longer.
term.
I mean,
Well,
Short
and
and long term.
absolutely.
and right now, that looks like the best option, obviously.
Right, and really and truly, when we talk about the blending option, we're talking about blending for the short term. That water quality of that water is not something that we want to blend for the next 20 years. It's going to be exceptionally hard. I mean, it's twice as hard as what Foss is. I mean, it's really, really hard water, but it's something that, it meets its primary standards and it will get us by until we can do something further with the water.
So with the blending, that's not an indication that the end result will be twice as hard. That just means the water from this one location is twice as hard as Foss.
It's
But
about-
when we blend, if we have 1.7 million gallons from Foss and then maybe 500,000 from this other, when we blend it, it really reduces that hardness.
We're
So
kind
And
of-
then when the new comes online,
We're looking at about a 30% increase as far as hardness and total dissolved solids or so. And the overall, that's what would be seen at the taps with blending that water.
Wow.
It's extreme.
So that really wouldn't be part of your phase 2 proposal with us.
For a short-term process, the blending would be for short-term, and the long-term would to be to convey that water source to the new treatment plant. So eventually it would be treated in the long term. It's just while the plant's being built, that it would be blended during that shorter time frame, right?
Okay, and I'm hearing complaints in how for some time in terms of the taste and the odor of our water currently that we're getting, and what we've talked about tonight is gonna be worse than that.
Yes.
And that's why, the way we would construct the well and the pipelines and stuff, it would be set up where it would retrofit to the new water treatment plant, if that's the route that we decided to go. So everything would actually just button right up in line with the plan. So there really would be no waste involved with going that route, and drilling that new well. It would tie back into the big picture.
He said that the water quality of that well could be the water quality of that well right now, it can't be treated any other way than reverse osmosis.
Right, to remove the type of constituents that we need through ROs.
Were you talking about a different water source at one time? When you said that, when you opened up the meeting, the first part of your presentation said that.
No, it was this water
Okay,
source.
okay. Okay, so you plan on having a lot more information for us a week, 2 weeks from tonight?
Correct.
This was a good report.
Yeah, and we want to be that upfront, I mean, we don't want anything to come up at the end and say why.
Okay, well, we're talking about 500,000 gallons a day?
On the bottom end, between 500,000 and 1 million gallons a day.
Depending on how big waters is.
And how many wells?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that first well, with us looking at drilling a new well, the new well could come in on the top end, just like Johnny Jason is providing right now, close to 1 million gallons a day, or it may be slightly less. But we feel we're gonna be in that ballpark based on the hydrogeology and like
And you could have that to us about 30 days from a vote.
that. Right.
30 days of DEQs,
And depending on
Right.
DEQ. But if we can still continue to go forward during phase one with the engineering portion, with getting the permit application in with DEQ. It's just not starting the actual construction piece of it until we have the vote.
We probably need to do that, though. If we don't have an engineer, you guys are
Right.
currently our only engineer on board.
Yes.
And if we're going to utilize that water as part of our portfolio, we probably should be doing that.
We intend
It's
to
a-
do.
it's
That's-
a-
We're gonna try and streamline it where we're able to do everything up at once, so by, whenever that time comes, it's ready to move forward.
Yeah, I think if we approve this, the next item on the agenda, approve this lease, I think we probably should go ahead and get a permit.
Yeah, we're already working on it. I mean, we're literally have already started working on it, even prior to y'all's approval there. We wanted to start gathering this information in anticipation.
Anything DEQ's receptive so far?
Yes.
Everything.
Okay.
They haven't blocked it.
They don't want us to know.
Anybody else up here?
You know, back to what Councilman Rojas mentioned, if we approve the lease, that is not gonna be, to do that, we're gonna have to authorize the temporary RO. Now we're back to the $500,000 price tag, right? We're not,
That's separate.
okay, that's.
We don't have to do that.
We'd actually ask if this one of y'all just table item C.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else up here? Lauren?
I'm fine, thank you.
Will? Good. Thanks, Stephanie, a lot, appreciate it, thank you. Action item B, lease of water rights west of town. So we have a lease in front of us up here. Ryan, you want to give us the?
Sure, yeah. We have in front of you a lease from Mr. Dixon for tract west of town, just north of Block 40, by Haggard Road. Mr. Dixon is leasing to us 900 acre feet with a potential substantial increase in the number of acre feet based upon pending applications that he has and the possibility that we can allocate our water rights to the same area. Pertinent provisions are that we will pay an annual rights fee of $50,000. For that amount, we will receive 120 million gallons of water. And after that, after the 120 million gallons have been produced, we will receive, we have the ability to take additional water at a rate of 50 cents per thousand. It's a 30-year lease, and the option will be continued thereafter, based upon continual payments.
at, right, the 120 million at $50,000, you know what that comes out to approximately?
Jeremy did the numbers for me, and it's 42 cents a thousand.
The 900 feet, does that include the proposed well site?
That, yes, it's the, this legal description includes that 900 acre. Right.
What if his water runs out?
There are outs in the contract for us.
Well, under paragraph 3, it says we cancel. Is that 60 days or the We haven't got this tonight, I hadn't really had a chance to review this. I saw you drafted it, I'll ask you this question. Okay, we run a good well, and we're gonna need to run a pipeline, over to our, plant lifeline. I assume we're gonna run that across his property free of charge.
Well, we're actually gonna pay him $6 a foot for, let's see, there's damages provision in here. Under paragraph 7, there's damages provision.
I thought for that kind of money, but that's.
Well, he's got a nice stand out down there. There would be some surface damages there.
What is your alfalfa before we're gonna drill the well? I see this.
Potentially, there's 2 spots that we're gonna do. We have access to the entire tract. Burns and Max indicated that there are several sites on there that we potentially use. And we have the ability to drill anywhere we want on the property.
Okay, but I was looking, see, this is, oh, it's not on Haggard Road, it's off the road a little bit. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Are you satisfied with the lease?
I think it's a great news.
Okay,
Now, I will tell you that Canute pays one of their sources 42 cents a gallon, so there is kind of a justification basis for that number, which is to reach up to the sky.
Oh, I understand.
And due to the proximity not only to the city of Clinton, but to an existing water line that you have, there's value in that as well. And it does fit into the temporary or long-term needs that you have, so it looks like a good deal.
Looks like a good thing to keep it.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't the first number that was there, I'll tell you that.
consider motion to, allow me to execute this lease.
I move that we authorize the mayor to execute this groundwater lease.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Trustee Sydney?
Yes.
Trustee Lowe?
Yes.
Trustee Huber?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Action item C, request authorization for installation of a temperature system at the Russell site. Sounds like we need to go ahead and table that. Do we have a motion to table something? Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments about action item C? Jesse? Trustee reports?
Public Works, this probably falls under Public Works, I'm gonna say, thank you to the Farmer Corporation in the city of Clinton for, taking care of the railroad track on North 13th Street between Orient and, very good job, nice to see. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I would only comment that I want to thank staff, Severn and Trent, and other parties in town that have a history of the water around here for the time that they have spent. It's been baptism by fire. I haven't experienced water rights, but it's surface water, and you're groundwater, totally different ballgame. So for the past 2 days, I don't have a PhD in hydrology in Clinton, Oklahoma, but I think I'm getting close. But I want to thank the people, all the people that took the time. And we're not through yet. There's still a lot of time to be spent on this, but you can see where the action is taking place. I do think it's a resolvable issue, and I think you're working for it. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, thanks to everybody for it. Audience participation? Hearing none, consider a motion to adjourn the Public Works Authority meeting.
Second.
Trustee Sami?
Yes.
Trustee Lauer? Trustee Hublin?
Yes.
Trustee Rudolph?
Yes.
And Chair.
Yes. On to the Clinton City Council agenda. Consider a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
Councilman Sami?
Yes.
Councilman Rudolph?
Yes.
Councilman Hublin?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item A, consider appointment to the Western Plains Library System Board. I know we see most of this stuff together.
Yes, Juan Garcia has been serving on the Western Plains Library System on behalf of the city of Clinton. His term is expiring. He has been contacted and he said that he is willing to continue serving in that capacity.
Make a motion that we agree to one into the library.
Does anybody know any bad stuff about Warren?
I'll second that.
Councilman Rudolph?
Yes.
Councilman Sami?
Yes.
Councilman Huber?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes.
You're in trouble now.
That's okay. Yeah, well, to the council. Action item B, renewal of agreement with Action Associates.
Yes, for the past several years, the city has a contract with Action Associates whereby we can refer individuals to their care, and in exchange for this, the city has a contract with them for $20,000. This was included in our budget work session and is included in this fiscal year's budget.
Okay, everybody budgeted in. Motion for anybody to,
I move to approve the agreement with Action Associates. I'll second that.
Councilman Rudolph?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
Councilman Sami?
Yes.
Councilman Huber?
Yes.
And Mayor.
yes. Action item C, renewal of agreement with AARP. Lisa, go ahead.
Yes, the city has entered into a contract with AARP. They have a bus, and they provide transportation to senior citizens, and the city has budgeted $4,000 to be used for those efforts.
Comments on motion? Ivan?
I'd make a motion, that we approve the
Self-dealing.
agreement with AARP.
I'll second.
Councilman Rudolph?
Yes.
Councilman Sami?
Yes.
Councilman Huber?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item D, modification of agreement with OJA, the Community Intervention Center, for the 2015 contract. Lisa?
At our last council meeting, we had approved their agreement with the Office of Juvenile Affairs, and they were going to do funding in the amount, I believe it was like $69,000.
Yeah, 68 now.
And they have now come back with a modification, and that rate has been increased to $82,740.
Never heard last meeting, right?
Yes.
Comments on motion?
Because that doesn't increase our participation.
No.
Any other comments on motion?
I move we approve the modification. I'll second that.
Councilman Rudolph?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
Councilman Huber?
Yes.
Councilman Sami?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item E, authorization to bid for an animal control pickup. Lisa, you want to-
In our budget, we had discussed the funding of $24,000 for the purchase of a new animal control pickup. And Chief Crabtree, would you like to have any comments?
As I stated in this commentary, it's a 2005. It's about 152,000 miles. It's seen better days. The animal bed that we box that we have will fit on a new vehicle. We're trying to get a full size. The little Ranger's just a little bit tight fit for smaller equipment. And some of our officers are rather large. So, it's time to get rid of that truck.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, I'll go ahead and place the Yes.
Councilman Bugler? Councilman Howard?
Yes.
Councilman Rodoff?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item F, request authorization to purchase used rough mower and compact utility tractor for the golf course. Who's Mr. Solomon now? This you want to, yeah. Kelly?
Yes, Kelly.
I'd like to replace our current 2-year-old utility tractor. It's 30 horsepower, it's really overworking, we're wearing it out a lot faster than it should. It won't do all the work that we would like to do. I'd like to pick a 50 horsepower tractor with a front motor and a brush hog. We have some taller bluegrass areas that we've been kind of talking to letting grow up. It'd be a lot more attractive if we could mow those much more often. We don't have anything right now in our inventory that we can mow that type of area with. Plus it will pull all the units that we have, the material handler, fairway air fire. The smaller tractor can't pull some of those larger items. The new tractor probably does, it lasts us 12 to 15 years. The rough mower we're talking about, currently have a tractor with a tow unit. That tow unit is reaching the end of its lifespan. To replace that, we're looking at another $20,000. We also have some older tractors that we just kept to pull some of these heavier items that the smaller tractor couldn't do. We'd like to trade those in, get them off our inventory and insurance. Basically, the cost of the utility tractor is roughly $39,000. With all the trade-ins that we have, bring it down to about $11,730. We'd also like to replace our rough mower with a used silting bedding unit. The last bid that I got on that was $27,400. I would have probably gone this type of a setup a long time ago, but we did buy one of these units about 6.5 years ago for $24,000, and it's been a workhorse. Very productive, and it's a lot faster and safer to operate in a tractor trailer. If we can get 8 years out of this unit, that's $3,000 a year of base cost. That's pretty good. There's much grass as it does in the season. Plus, we'll have a little redundancy in our system to where if one of these mowers breaks down, the other one can jump in there and cover the same area until we get it up and running again. Right now, this big tractor can't go in the same place. I'm just trying to make it our system as much as efficient and cost effective as possible, and also our long-term replacement costs go down.
Comments or questions?
The budgeted amount is $44,881 to combine package as it did now. If that unit that I'm looking at is acceptable, $39,135.
Under budget.
And this is on the state con.
Yeah, the new tractor's on state contract. The used mowers, it's kind of hard to bid those out because we're
Right.
ready to deal with them and have it.
Getting that.
Any other questions? Comment?
Much we authorize. Transaction.
Thanks, Kevin. Here a second?
Yes. Yeah, second.
Councilman Rodoff?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Bugler?
Yes.
Councilman Howard?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. How's the golf course? How's your time?
Weather's been kind to us lately.
Yeah. I heard a lot of compliments about it over the weekend with the lines of the Action item G, request authorization to purchase municipal swimming pool cover.
Chris is going to do
Chris?
that.
Good.
Yes, we added a budget for a swimming pool cover of $15,000, and this was in the event that we got all the upgrades to the pool. So this will allow us to keep water in the pool all year round and help maintain the pool over the long term.
Okay, was this budgeted in, this stuff?
Yes.
It was budgeted in for $15,000, but that was an initial quote that I got back in March or April, and the price has actually increased, I believe, a little over $2,000.
gone up since the last time we got the bids, and that's been over budget. 19.4 is what it says now.
That's good.
Oh, sorry.
17.
Got it, 17. Do we have any comments or motion? Allow you to save water all year, that's good, right? Because it allows you to save water, keep water in the pool. Now, it's probably increases the lifespan of the pool by not taking the water out of it.
It does, that's the issue we had with all the outbreaks we have every year, the pool popping up out of the ground.
And we just said spend $250,000 upgrading the pool, fixing stuff.
The next agenda item, I believe, underrun quite a bit. Maybe that could be used to offset part of the.
Well, the remainder of that one is gonna be used for the heating of Aggie.
Is that what you call climate control measures?
Comments or motion regarding action?
I move we authorize the purchase of the cover for the pool, $17,422.24. Second that motion.
Councilman Rodoff?
Yes.
Councilman Motley?
Yes.
Councilman Sameen?
Yes.
Councilman Hughes? And Mayor?
Yes. Action item H, request authorization to proceed with installation of spray foam installation at Aggie. Chris?
Yeah, we had budgeted $60,000 for the spray foam and climate control of Aggie. If you've ever been out to Aggie during the winter, it's a weed blocker. There's no insulation whatsoever in there. And that causes me to run my AC in the inner building quite frequently, and the lines freeze up quite a bit, so I spend roughly about $7,000 a year fixing my heating units inside. So this will take care of that, and then all the leaks as well.
I was confused with the, this phone at 48,000, and you had mentioned 60,000 being in the budget.
Yes.
Now, this climate control wasn't in the budget.
It was all rolled up into that with the intent that it would be together, but with the scheduling time, we need to get the spray foam done now,
Right.
and then the heating can come in a little bit later.
But in terms of the dollar amount, you had already budgeted something for.
Yeah, there's that'll be 12,000 remaining, and that'll be for years.
Because the way it reads, it makes it sound like we actually saved about $12,000.
No, I mean, we might save a little bit of money, but, just depending on what we come back with the heating elements that go in there. And there's different routes we can go with that, what they have at the fire station, the firehouse, those heaters, or we can get the forced air, so.
So we don't have any quotes on that?
We do not. But, well, I've got some initial quotes in the past, in recent years, but it should be well under that, what I've got budgeted there for.
What color will the foam be?
I honestly don't know. I think the only thing I've seen go in there, it'll be like tan or something.
Yeah.
And we can paint it if you want.
Any other questions or motion up here?
I move we authorize the phone.
We have a second?
Are we gonna go ahead and authorize that for 12,000 to be spent on climate control?
That's what I'll do.
Why don't we look at the climate control a little bit closer?
Okay.
Can we look at that a little bit closer, see some bids, maybe some numbers or some ideas on?
We can, and the reason why I wanted to go ahead and do this is because we don't have very much foot traffic in Aggie right now. And with the heat outside, it'll actually, the spray foam will adhere better to the tin. So if we wait too much longer, I've got a lot of foot traffic in there, and we've got to work around that. I don't want to shut Aggie down. We sort of want to utilize the track.
Your motion was to do the phone.
Do the phone.
$48,000.
Do we stop a second?
Yes. I will now. Pointing out.
Councilman Rodoff?
Yes.
Councilman Sameen?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes, thanks, Chris. Action item I, staff recommendation regarding the fire aerial apparatus. Yes, sir. What do you have for us?
Rick Chalice, Robert Mayfield, and myself went to Mobile, Alabama to look at this unit. I don't have a picture of it. What this is a 99 Pierce Lance. Well, you do have a picture.
Yeah.
Good job. I'm glad you can't see the color because it's green. But what we found, there is a short laundry list that will need to be taken care of. There's some problems with the interiors, and of course, they've already said that they would paint the truck red, however our color scheme is, we want. As far as the truck goes itself, Rick drove it. It was very sound. He flew it, as we call it, to fly an apparatus, an aerial, you raise the ladder and just perform some maneuver with it. It was very tight. There was no flop in it, which is very comforting. Everything was well greased, well maintained, from what we could see. The reason we recommend this truck over the other two that we had bids on was warranty on the truck that's newer than this one. The warranty on it was not acceptable. And then the third truck that was way under our budget was a recall truck. Something has had some issues here lately with cables. They used the wrong cabling on their apparatus and they pancaked down and injured several firefighters. We don't need that liability. So therefore, with what we found, this is the truck we would recommend to go with. And I think it'll be a good apparatus for plant.
Didn't you say this come off the military base?
This truck actually came off the military base in Texas. We don't know for sure which one. But, we done an over-the-body search, over the ladder. We found minimal rust in any place that would concern us. So it's actually in a steel manufacturing plant in Alabama right now on loan. They don't use it, it sits in there, but they gotta have it just like we have to have it. So the truck has very few hours on it. It's actually got less hours and less miles than our truck is. So,
Motion or comments?
I think you did a good job.
I feel quite comfortable with it.
I'd make a motion that we authorize the purchase. I'll second that motion.
Councilman Rodoff?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
Councilman Huglen?
Yes.
Councilman Samik?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item J, resolution 828 regarding removal of signal lights at Area 6. Lisa?
Yes, well, at the last meeting, the decision had been made that we were going to eliminate the signal lights at 6th and Gary. The Department of Transportation requires that we approve a resolution stating our intentions, and that is what this resolution is that we will remove them at our expense, and that they will then put in stop signs on 6th Street.
If we ever get any feedback as to whether we can handle that job,
Yes, we did, and the city does not have the equipment or really the know-how to handle that type of situation. We had gotten the one quote on the repairs and the removal. We had gotten 2 other estimates from companies that provide the same services, and it's less than half of what the original, our prices are about in the $6,500 range to have them take the lights down.
So it's a lot.
It's a lot cheaper. Right.
So we were at,
Yes, it was. Yes.
we were at 14 the last time we talked. You said we were down around 6, 7.
That's 65.
Worth checking out.
Aren't these vendors that you have experience with,
Yes.
Jason?
Yes,
So
I-
you know the work is good?
Yes, I've worked with both vendors, the additional vendors that Lisa got quotes from.
Sounds good. With that in mind, Mayor, he does the resolution.
Motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Anybody?
Second. I'll second.
Councilman Huglen?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
No.
Councilman Rodoff?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Action item K, resolution 829 regarding charter change for municipal election. Lisa?
Yes. At the last meeting, we had talked about trying to come up with a time frame that would reduce the time between the filing period and the elections, and then a council person actually taking office. So the charter change that is being presented would specify that the filing period would be in June, that the primary would be scheduled for August, the general would be in November, and then the person that was successful in the election would then take office at the very next council meeting. So that way, we were able to cut off some time from the start of it and then at the end of it. This resolution has to be turned in to the election board, and then the election board will set it for vote at the November election commission.
I worked with Lisa on this. I've probably been the most vocal about complaining about the length of time from filing until the election. This is not perfect, but it shortens it about 3 months from what it is right now.
That's pretty good.
So I'd recommend we do it. I mean, in fact, I'll make a motion to read it out for resolution 829.
I'd like to second it.
Yes, Becky, Sherry. Your hand.
Councilman Rudolph?
Yes.
Councilman Samee?
Yes.
Councilman Hewland?
Yes.
Councilman Lowry?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Council reports?
I will say that Lisa and I have been working on this boiler lease for a long time, about 4 months.
Yes.
We finally got everything worked out and should get our money pronto. That'll be about $170,000. Where's the property? Property out by Clinton Lakes, section 8 of 1219.
And how long is that lease?
3 years.
Anybody else?
I'd just like to say, welcome aboard, Mark. I'm glad to have you here, and look forward to working with you.
We are glad to have you. I'm glad to be here.
Anybody else? Audience participation? Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Can I ask, okay, the people called from Silverton made their report, but being behind them, I can't always hear the best.
Yeah.
And my big concern is the water, because I'm a big purchaser of water. And I would like, it sounded like they're focusing just on the well site there. And so I would like it clear in my mind, what is the focus and what is the time frame? Because sometimes when you go and apply for permits from the state, sometimes it takes a little longer waiting for them to come back. You can't force the issue. But I'd like those 2 questions answered on that. And then on the other thing I had a question on was Cable One. I've tried to work with them in the past, and I'd like to know who I can talk to find out who would be the best contact person for me to contact Cable One to get something accomplished. Thank you.
Thanks. Do you have anything?
I have a name and telephone number for everyone, that's who we've been communicating with. I'll be back to the project.
Yeah, Stephanie, or Jeremy, you want to answer the questions in regards to, answer her questions in regards to
Sure.
the focus and timeframe?
Focus and time frame. So tonight we focused primarily on the short-term options, so that's why we were focusing on that one individual well on Mr. Dixon's property. But overall, we're looking at a diverse portfolio for Clinton, for the long-term options. That includes water from Canute, from Dixon, on the city's property, which is likely to be 2 additional groundwater wells, and we're also looking at an additional private property owner. So that's more of the long-term solution, which should be in place 12 to 18 months from the time of an agreement for phase 2.
That answer your question?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Anybody else, audience participation?
Why does the light at Sixth and Mary need to be removed? I
Yeah.
mean, why can't it just hang there instead of spending $6,000 to remove it?
Jason, you know the answer to that?
I do not know the answer to that.
I think it looks like a traffic, I think it's probably similar to traffic hazard, just to have a light hanging there with a temporary stop sign. I think it's kind of.
I was fortunate not to get run over the other day, and I'm
Right.
sure that person was looking at that light and not the little stop signs right there in the middle of the intersection. I couldn't believe that. It was 45, 50 miles an hour right on through the intersection.
May have been me.
Yeah.
I know living in, you know what's going on. I hate to say this in front of the police chief sitting over there, but when I come up there and I see that hanging down, that's what I look at. It takes me away from that stoplight. Now, if you're a Clintonite and you've been here forever, well, you know that. The people coming from out of town, that's probably who's gonna catch, the stop of the next time. And I promise it won't be me, but it may have been the other day.
Oh, we may make a lot of money on tickets.
Now, I think that's some kind of trap you're referring to, man. But anyway, that, coming from out of town, that's what I saw. I just didn't see the stop sign, because I was up there, and there's no light, there's no red light, no green, but there's no red, so.
But if you don't go down that street very often, you forget, oh, this is a stop sign, and I'm
Yeah.
like, even if you live there forever.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other audience participation?
On the Sixth Street stoplight again, is the proposal to remove the complete pole? Or are they just gonna remove the arms that extend over the street? Because there are street lights mounted on some of those poles that we probably need to maintain.
The poles that are street lights, those poles will stay there.
Okay.
But the traffic signals, those will be removed, as well as the fire emergency, that pole.
Anybody else? Yes.
I just wondered if there's money in the budget to pursue water rights every year. I mean, if we'll continue and continue and continue to try to get water rights in the budget.
I don't know about the budget, but I will tell you in the conversations that I've had with staff, and the Severn Trent people, there are other water rights under consideration now.
Okay. But that's not a yearly thing you budget for, so much money to go out and try to get those?
Yeah, I can't answer that. That would be a discussion at budget time.
Well, I don't know when that is.
But I think the answer to your question would be yes, because 11 and 12 taught us how sensitive water is and how uncertain it is. So I think there'll probably always be a focus in Clinton to keep their eyes open and their ears to the ground for potential water rights that are available.
Anybody else? Consider a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'd like to make